Yo, what's up, fo man? Ask me a question when I talk about race in Africa so much. Well, first of all, I don't believe in the word race. I think it belittles people. We're all the same. Race is just a term that the white supremacists, or I wouldn't say white supremacists, but these white leaders use to classify everybody and put people in certain positions and stuff below them. So I don't usually talk about that. But the reason I do say white, black, Asian, and all that stuff is because that's just the way we talk in America. We don't have any other terms to correctly identify people, I guess. As you know, English is 80% foreign. It's not a pure language anyway. So anyway, there's this site called Marmaduke Rebellion, and it talks about the white rebellion, I guess, against slavery or something like that. But anyway, it was the last time the white people ever been forced into slavery. Like they are. Oh my God, what the hell is going on? And anyway, on the sidebar, there's this guy, some guy on there. I guess I don't know who he is, but anyway, I clicked on it because it said something about National Geographic or something. And this dude said he went around the world, and everything he researched, he didn't find nothing in ancient history concerning the achievements of white people. He said white men weren't around talking about they did this and they did that. But he said he searched, and he said there's nothing that indicates any achievements whatsoever of white people. And he said there's nothing. Everything that he searched, it always led him back to black. Now, I'm not saying African or whatever. You can read it for yourselves. It's there. But it says it always went back to black. And there's this French writer too. I don't know if he was an archaeologist or whatever, but he wrote the same thing in his book. His name starts with a V, but he's real famous. Anybody can find him, Voltaire or something like that. But he's very famous, and he wrote the book, and he wrote a book in French. And then there was one passage where it said that everywhere that he went, it always led him back to black. Everything languages, everything led him back to black. And when the book was printed in English in America, they blotted that part out. And when he's learned English and spoken and stuff, he read his book in English and noticed that part was out, and he got mad at the publishers and made them put it back in. But everything so far, that a lot of these people that are being honest about it, they're saying everything falls back to Africa. Everything falls back to the black man. And so that's what they're reading. And then as I'm over here in Japan, I'm starting to notice this when I travel to other countries. I see how people look like us. How people look black, the big, thick lips, big noses. Some people got thin noses, whatever. But I still see it. And when I meet these people, especially if you're out in the country, they're real nice, and they're kind, always smiling and want to talk to you and get to know who you are, And the whole thing is, black people in America don't know nothing about their history, and the ones that do know, they're either talking about it too far. But I'm talking about recent history. We ran Spain up to 1665, and that guy that was on the sidebar on the Marmaduke Rebellion site, he even said that Spain's glory was the glory of Spain was that which the black man built in Spain. And he said even though it was Muslims, Islam, I think him or someone else said like Islam is Mid-Eastern only in name, but when you put a picture on it, it's black. We were the ones that spread it around and stuff. So the Marmaduke religion was basically white Christians against black Muslims. But in our times when we were ruling it, everybody was free. You do whatever you want. There were laws you didn't break, but in those days maybe people, not everyone, but people were just on the most part good. You know, they didn't just go out doing wanton acts of violence and stuff like that's going on in America by the police departments and a lot of these people in charge and stuff like that. You know, and so they just started sowing these seeds of division, and eventually people started hating Islam and started loving Christianity more. You know, and basically all it was just a money thing. You know, the Islamic world was rich, trading, you know, was vast, and everybody was doing well, and the Christians, especially in England and France and northern Spain, a lot of them people weren't doing so well, and they were on the bridge of being broke, financially broke. You know, read the Wealth of the World, and if you read it from a historical point, it'll just tell you straight up, you know, their financial system was gone, and they knew where the riches were, but because they were so evil, you know, they wouldn't let them pass, the Christians past a certain point. Now the Christians found a way, you know, you can see how evil they are. So basically, I'm over here, and I'm seeing this stuff, you know, in Japan. And Japan's supposed to be a homogeneous country or something like that. And you know, you see these, like today I went to the bank and put some money in the bank and stuff, and I seen these Japanese group of people, and they were in their 60s and above. And this one lady had these thick lips, real big, thick lips. And she was cute for her age, too. And she was tall. You know, I was like, wow, you know, why is it that, you know, when you think about Japanese people, they usually tend to have thin lips and stuff like that. But when you come into Japan, there's a whole bunch of Japanese people that have thick lips. And everybody want to just categorize Japanese people as being one, as far as being the same. But there are a whole bunch of island nations, too. You know, the Okinawans, they're Okinawans first, then Japanese. The Anus or Angus or something like that up in Hokkaido, you know, they're not the same as the Japanese people on this Honshu island. Everybody's different, you know. And there's just a whole bunch of tribes, you know, they're doing their thing, and I guess the white people came along and everybody wanted to formalize everything, nationalize everything, just put everyone in a group. But even up in Hokkaido, they have their language that doesn't correspond to Japanese, and Japanese people just had to use their language that they have to correspond, or the kanji and stuff they use to correspond with the language that the people up there speak. You know, so it's not just one. So when I talk about Africa and stuff, I ain't got no choice. I mean, I'm walking down the street, and the old man, about 60, 70 years, come up, oh, how you doing, where you from, speaking to me perfect English, you know, oh, you know, I love black people, and, you know, the music, I listen to jazz, do you know this person, this person, this person, and he running down all these people, and I don't know who these people are, and he just started giving me a history about the South, and this and that, you know, and I'm like, wow, you know, how is it that he know these things, especially being as old as he is in World War II and all that stuff, you know, and you always hear about white people, but, you know, these Japanese people know about us, you know, and a lot of Japanese people tell me, I'm black. Now, they might not say they're African, but black means, you know, I guess it could be the melanin content in you. You know, you have so much where it identifies you as black, or the fact that none of us can live without carbon, which is pitch black, you know. So you ask me, why am I talking about Africa, and why am I talking about, I guess, human beings? It's because I am a human being, and when I do my history and I walk around, you know, all I see is Africa, just an extension of Africa. Africa is what? It's a jungle. Japan's a jungle. America was a jungle. England is definitely an island. It's a tropical jungle. Hawaii is a jungle, you know, or whatever you want to call it, palm trees or whatever. And the palm trees, I heard, were imported by Chinese people. But anyway, and they traveled, and I read this book, they traveled the world before white people did. But anyway, you know, I talk about those things because that's just what I see, you know, and it always comes back to black, you know. But you need to be asking these questions. Why is, when white people talk about people, why are they always talking about black people and discrediting what we did, well, you guys didn't do that, instead of talking about what they did? You know, I figure if they got something good in history, they would brag about, you know, their things, you know, what they doing. But, you know, this one white dude, he was bragging about, yeah, you know, we in Australia, we killed off a whole genealogy of people, and he's talking about he was proud of that, and I was like, what? You know, so if you want to ask some questions, you know, then you ask, why do white people talk bad about us and not good about themselves? Stop worrying about what I talk about. This is my site.